Well, I want to welcome everybody this evening. So glad, nice to see your smiling faces here, and I hope you enjoyed your dinner. It was excellent. Thank you to her who made all the arrangements. Here we go. Okay, we want to introduce guests that we brought this evening, and I'll start. Okay. Of course, we have our guest speaker for this evening, Colonel Modell, and we'll hear more about him later. And this first table over here, our guests of our wing, Bill and Alton Foster from Plano, Texas. Bill did a lot of work helping to reconstruct the electricity in the hangar, along with two other of my friends from Plano. Okay, I'd like to start on around the room. How about this first table? We have a new member here. Would you like to introduce him?
Jim, this is Gene Martin. One of the step up.
Yeah.
Stand up, Gene. Gene will show us Monday.
Welcome. John, would you like to introduce your guest? I didn't introduce him before.
Yeah, this is my guest, Laquita King. We still up, stand up, Laquita.
Thank you very much, John. She's so pretty. What is she doing here?
She may be a little old for this group.
I'm going to ask her later. Okay, Jack Bass and Carol are with us. Would you introduce your guest?
Yes, my wife, Pat.
Okay. Carol, of course, is from the Highland Lake Department of Vernon. Okay, let's see. HD, we don't have any guests at your table. Okay, Mr. Rondot, would you introduce your guest?
I guess Tom says so.
All right, Tom. Okay, we love. Let's start at your table. You have any guests there? I know George Bass has
Yes, I
guests.
do. I'd like to introduce somebody who I'm very proud of, very special. This is my daughter Karen, and next month on February 17th, she reports to Pensacola, Florida, Navy Aviation Officers Candidate School, where she will begin her quest to become an officer and a lady in the Navy and to get her wing gold.
We congratulate you, Karen. Very proud. Thank you. Okay. Cover all this. Becky's here. We're glad to see Becky. Doc Davis is here. We haven't seen Doc in a while, and it's good to see her. Next, we're going to have a presentation of awards. Chet Cochan is in charge.
I need my Leon Thomas over here to help out. While he's coming over, if you haven't seen our display back at the corner table, there are some calendars back there. We have a new selection of pins. We have some wing patches, and we have some of the 38 caps. So if you're interested in any of those, see me after the program.
Chet, let me interject. Those wing patches, those flew with Sandy in the cockpit of the B-38 in February. So if anybody's interested in getting them, that's all.
And I wanted to thank Dot for finding a model, P-38 model that she donated this evening. If you have any grandchildren, there's only one, so please don't fight. If you're interested, that's available also. And I want to, before we start giving out the awards, I'd like to thank Evelyn Butler. Evelyn did the lettering and calligraphy on the certificates. So I'd like to thank Evelyn for a lot of work on this. The first thing we're going to give out, we have some certificates that we'd like to present. If people are here, we'll present them. If they're not here, we'll get them to them on a later date. The first one we have here is for Colonel Lil and Bob Ayers for their support during wing projects and the display of their T-34 aircraft at various air shows throughout the year. The next award, boy, my assistant. This next award is Colonel George Bass. For his continuous service to the wing as hangar project officer, as workday supervisor, monthly workday supervisor, and also for airshow PX work that he shows up for every time. The next award is for Colonel Doug Thompson. He doesn't know why he hasn't done anything all day. This is presented for his work as a wing public information officer and especially for the improvement, the upgrading of the newsletter. The next one is for someone who isn't here, but I'll give you an idea of what it's about. This is for Tom Elliser for his support using his L5 at various air shows and flyovers during the year to get through town. Okay, Tom's co-pilot will take it. The next award is Colonel Fred Henningkamp. Fred Henningkamp, the Mayor Lockhart, in recognition of his contribution of carpentry skills to various wing projects and the display of his Stearman at air shows. Colonel Jim Lyle. This one is for keeping the county safe for all of us to live in. No. This is for his contribution on the many monthly work days and the many wing projects that we've had. He always shows up. Whether we want him or not, he shows up. Colonel Jim and Nancy Lux. I didn't put plural. This is for their dedication to the successful August fundraiser that we had, and also Jim's skill in producing the P-38 video. This one is to someone who isn't here. We'll give it to Lavelle at church tomorrow morning. To Colonel Stan Pender for his support at air shows and the use of his T-38. Or T-34. This is for Hubert McDowell. He's not, that's your friend. Okay, this is one of the people from Blanco that helped us in getting the hangar project going and purchasing electricity. So mosquitoes out there helping get the electricity in the hangar. Quite useful. This certificate is for Mr. Bill Foster.
I'd like to say these three gentlemen saved us thousands and thousands of dollars in electricity in the hangar. And we greatly appreciate it, Bill. Really.
And along that same line, this is for Chuck Wyden from San Marcos for his ongoing contribution of electrical expertise to the Central Texas hangar renovation. He shows up probably 3 days a week, and if we don't have a plug that's working or a light that's working, he gets out his equipment and goes at it. He's not sure has helped us out. This one is for Wilbur Hobson. Wilbur is the one that donated the tractor. And besides donating the tractor, it take what, 12 of us to put the P-38 out and push it back. Now we can.
And 100 for the doors.
And he also has done numerous welding projects for us, bringing welding equipment out, including the engine stand that we're using for the P-39 engines. We built that thing from scratch. He's helped us quite a bit. We'll get this room down in the hangar. Rex Riddell is another person who has worked with us down there from San Marcos and worked in the hangar with us over the past year. Colonel Pat Hatton. Colonel Pat Hatton's recognition of not wrecking any National Guard helicopter. This is for his contribution as wing maintenance officer and all the people at air shows. He always shows up with his pickup truck, with tool equipment and everything, you know, Houston or any place else. He always shows up, so I want to thank you for that, man. Colonel and D. Gessner. This is in recognition of their dedication to the successful August fundraising project. They were the co-persons for the August project. Check with my roommate. This next award is for Colonel John Adams. John, this is a Century Club plaque, 1988 through 1992. Donations to the Century Club, which is an organization or a part of the wing that collects funds for the renovation of the aircraft and different wing projects. John? Colonel Henry Tippy. He's not here. This is a Century Club plaque for 1992. And here's some there also. Colonel Ollie Crawford, Century Club plaque. Get that here. Colonel Raymond Kastner. Raised contribution to the Century Club this year, 1992. Your brain's getting fast. It's bedtime. And notice here, Colonel Wagner Carr, who is not present tonight, and the Century Club plaque, and we'll get this later on. This one is to someone over in Lafayette, Colonel Howard Cornet, over in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we'll get this in the mail for him also. Century Club plaque. Robert Weaver, Century Club plaque, and we'll get this in the mail. Bob. Colonel Pete Gessner. Club for 1992. Doesn't spend enough time working on the airplane several days a week. You know, he has to get money also.
Chet,
Yes.
is it okay that we don't get money this year at just this time?
No, he got a pay raise New Year's. Did he tell you?
No.
His pay was doubled.
One zero to 2 zeros.
There you go.
Colonel James Lux. Century Club plaque for 1992. Okay, we have one here also for Charlie Field, who is not here. We'll get that to him, unless someone wants to deliver it to his friends. Val Allen, also Century Club plaque. And we have one here from Colonel Robert Jones. Bob Jones. In recognition of his service as executive officer of the wing. Colonel Harold Smith. Thank you. Colonel Al Briggs. Did he run away with the money? Oh, Al has been our finance officer. And we have a special award here for Colonel Pete Gessner. What are we doing in the exercise? This is the award, special award, P-38 on it, in recognition of all the work Pete has done on the aircraft this year, and Maintenance Man of the Year award. Colonels Connie and Sandy Sansing. This is the Distinguished Service Award for all the many projects, time, and effort that Connie and Sandy have put in helping the wing throughout the year. Okay, now we have the tags for the 1992 Century Club members. Those of you that have been Century Club members in the past, we have a 1992 tag with the rings that go with it. Jim All, he's in Phoenix, so he's not with us tonight. Lil and Bob. By the way, those that are getting them, the plastic is on the front, and when you peel it off, the rings will come off at the same time, exposing the year 1992. Al Briggs. Cliff and Helen Gaston are not here. I talked to Cliff on the phone. They had a commitment in Corpus Christi this weekend. Bob Jones. Jim Kasser's not here. I have mine already. Jim Lyles. Then we have two of the tags for Becky and Ross McKinney. Just prior to Ross's death, he insisted on paying his Century Club fee for this year. So we appreciate that. Out here, Bob Peckham. Hank Potter. Virgil and Connie Sansing.
That's you. Hey, look down.
Harold Smith.
Turn your hearing aid up.
Leon Thomas. Is there anyone else here who was a Century Club member this year who needs their 1992 plaques or their tags? Anyone else? Okay, I believe that's all that I have. Thank you, Lil.
I want to thank Chet very much. This is quite an undertaking to get all these awards arranged and here for everybody. If you did win an award tonight, it's his fault.
We're hired.
We have 4 special awards to present. Letters of appreciation and wristwatches with a picture of the Scatterbrain Kid 2 on its maiden flight of February 28, 1992. Colonel Jim Lux and Nancy Lux, Colonel Pete Gessner and Lee Gessner, Colonel Doug Compton and Captain Compton. Please come forward. Thank you very much.
Does this mean we have to do it again?
These are bags.
These are definitely frogs. Thank you very much. The 4th award of the P-38 watches will go to Colonel Sandy Sampson and Colonel Connie Sampson. They're celebrating its flight 10 years later.
Survival.
Thank you so much. We also have our final award this evening, I guess. Yes, is the Wing Letter Second Annual Award. This is to a non-member of the staff. The wind is always invisible. You can't see it. You can hear it, you can feel it, and you can see its effects as grass and trees are swaying, clouds are swept across the sky, and as wings of birds and aircraft react to its swift motion to create lift and therefore flight. Like the wing, when many Centex wing members exert their mental and physical efforts in an obtrusive and invisible way. Also like the wing, the effect of their efforts can be felt and seen. Without the lift that they create, the Centex wing will not fly. Most of the members of the wing fit this description, and therefore it is difficult to choose one for special recognition. This year's recipient is Colonel Jim Lyles. Come forward, sir. Jim has given generously his time to be present in the aircraft and prepared to leave on their mission. He is there to pull, push, tug, and sometimes talk. We hang the doors open. He always calls me to ask when planes will return and often waits several hours to have security in the hangar. He always seems to be there when his work is done. Jim, I'm proud of you. I congratulate everyone who received awards this year and for all the work that you have done.
I'm gonna take this to the office. Oh, that's beautiful.
Now, we would like to have introduction of the 1993 staff officers and for the Colonel Sandy Sampson to introduce all the 1993 staff officers.
Thank you.
As you know, we have alternate years, 2 years terms, and every year we try to get half the
staff elected so that there will be a carryover and a continuity to the business of the wing. Those that are entering their second year, their wing leader, Colonel Lillian Ayars, maintenance officer, Colonel Pat Hatch, wing adjutant, Connie Sanchez, and those that are coming in for their first initiation, executive officer, Colonel Bob Peckham, finance officer, Colonel Leon Thomas, second time around, third time around. Operations officer, Colonel Bill Powers. He's in the same situation as Leon. He's been an officer for I don't know how long. And safety officer, Colonel Fred Henkamp. Those are the elected positions. Those are the elected positions of the wing staff. The appointments by the wing leader, the other positions, PX officer, Colonel Chet Cochan, DIO and personnel officer, Colonel Doug Compton, T-38, T-39 project, myself, UC-78 project officer, Colonel Powers, facility project officer, Fred Henkamp, and special project officer, Colonel Jim Luck. Let's all give the youth staff a big hand.
They were supposed to stand up, they just don't want y'all to stand up. And we want to give our thanks to the outgoing 1992 officers. They worked hard, and had a very successful year in the Centex wing in 1992. And to help refresh your memory on that, Colonel Jim Lux had prepared a video presentation for us, and unfortunately the machine wasn't working properly. So he's going to give you a verbal presentation of our 1992 event.
Thank you, Lily. Well, I do apologize that we don't have the video working. Spent quite a bit of time on it, but it gives us all an opportunity to maybe appear at the next wing meeting, and we'll show it at that time. How's that? We had a tremendous year in 1992, as most of you know. It started off with a big bang. We moved our equipment down to a big hangar, and we all had a chance to peek in the door of the hangar. At least I was a new guy on the block, and I hadn't even seen it. Had an opportunity to ride down the back of somebody's pickup truck and take a look at this big hangar that we had just taken over. When we looked through the windows of the door, I think the door was open, and you couldn't see much in there. And there was a lot to see, as it turned out. When the doors were finally opened, and I got a chance to look inside, it was filled with all these little buildings inside, and they were made of concrete and stone and every other thing. And we had the opportunity to knock all that down. And so our wing got together, and every weekend and during the week we were down there with sledgehammers, anything else that we could get, and knocked all that stuff down and got it cleared out. So that was really the first opportunity for the wing. The next thing that occurred, of course, was the first flight of the P-38. That occurred on February 28th. And for me, it was extremely exciting. And I said congratulations to Sandy. And at that time, I didn't know him well. He was just coming down off the airplane after making the flight. And I said, congratulations, Sandy. I said, this is one of the most exciting things that's ever happened to me. He said, you think it's exciting for you. So we had a very successful flight. And then we had an official first day. We had an open house. And we had lots of folks come out. As it turned out, I think we had 300 or 400 people show up, including the mayor and Colonel John Stokes, and a lot of dignitaries showed up. And even Lefty Gardner flew in his P-51 for us. We had several aircraft, and Fred flew in his airplane, and we had maybe 20, 30 airplanes that showed up. And we made a few dollars there. The first day, which was a Saturday, we had kind of the inauguration, cutting of the ribbon, and we were supposed to take off on that day, but unfortunately we lost part of the airplane takeoff. And Sandy came back, and I've got a great shot of him lifting the thing, not too happy. But in a tremendous effort, in a less than 24-hour turnaround, they had a new canopy put on the back of that, and they made the flight on Sunday. So we did have our first official flight after all. Our fearless leader, our wing commander, sealed the deal on the hangar lease for us, and we got the hangar for $1 a year. And I think that's incredible. Some people may have felt that we paid 95 cents too much. But I think they'll retract those words today, because we got in there and we had, thanks to the help of a lot of folks in the room here, got the plumbing fixed, got the electricity on, got all that brick and rock out of there, made that a real hangar. It's really something to behold, I think, compared to what it was when it was in January. The next opportunity for us was something called the Gathering of Memories. That was Lil's idea. She thought about this name called the Gathering of Memories, and I thought it really fit extremely well. And we had a dinner dance. For those of you who didn't have an opportunity to attend, don't miss next year. Or this year is 1993, because it's going to be even better. But it was great. We had over 400 people show up for our dinner dance. We had over 1,500 people show up just for the open house that we had for the day. And we had a lot of volunteers, a lot of help there. But it was amazing. We invited, I think it was 8 airplanes. We had over 50 airplanes show up. And we had special honored guests, including our own Hank Potter, and he was able to bring along 3 crew members of the Doolittle Raiders. We had General Jay Robbins, who was one of the aces of World War II, and Jim Entz, also as P-38 pilots. Centex Hill flew with the Flying Tigers, and as a special guest. And Rex Barber showed up, and I believe he's from Illinois or Ohio or something. All right. But anyway, Rex came in and was our honored guest. For those of you who don't know who he is, he was credited with shooting down Yamamoto during World War II. It was a lot of work, a lot of fun, made a lot of money. We actually grossed over $17,000 and we netted some $11,000. So it really has helped us out a lot. We need a lot more. We completed the 25 hours of testing on the P-38, or I should say Sandy did, with the help of Pete and everyone else that was working on that airplane, and it wasn't long after the 25 hours that the airplane began making money for us. We flew it to the Air Force Academy for the 50th reunion of P-38 pilots, and I believe we got $8,000 on that flight, and not only that, a lot of goodwill, and unfortunately I wasn't unable to attend, but I wish I had been able to, because I understand it was just an incredible experience. But somebody said it was the world's largest gathering of human beings. But anyway, from there, they went to Dallas and made us a few more dollars, and then to Houston. Then we were about to go to Bergstrom, and I waved off our fearless leader and Bob Ayers, and they actually made it out onto the runway, but they had to come back. We had a little problem with that, with the P-38. But we went to Midland shortly after that, the second week in October. Let me tell you folks, as far as I'm concerned, we literally stole the show at Midland. We had more people around our airplane than any airplane out there, almost constantly. Sterling Weaver, myself, Nancy, and I can't remember who else, but we spent most of our time cleaning the oil off the P-38 every time Bob came down. I swear it must have manufactured its own oil, because even though it only showed 1 gallon down, I think we spent about 14 hours wiping it down with green gunk and anything else we could, but it always looked nice by the time the people came out to see the airplane. We had more comments. They either loved the nose or they hated it. But it brought people to the airplane. We had a lot of discussion, and I think it's going to give us a lot of publicity in the future. We had a Christmas party. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend, but I guess a good time was had by all. And we closed the deal, or I should say, our leader closed the deal with the city of San Marcos, with the mayor, and she was able to get $10,000 to help restore the roof on a hangar, which is badly needed repair. So that's the beginning of 1993. we are going to get a fixed up roof. They've already started fixing up the, what is this, officers' quarters? Officers club, meeting room. And if you haven't been down there, you need to get down there and take a look and see what's going on, and we can use all the help that we can. Another thing that was to my surprise, when I walked in there yesterday, there's a lot of new parts down there. Are they ours?
They're old new parts.
Are they ours?
Yes, I think most of them are.
Yes, if you haven't been down, you need to make a trip down just to see what we have. Because they have 5 or 6 engines on one side now, and we have a pile of P-38 parts, that covers a huge area that we need to find a place for. But those are ours, I guess, and we'll have an opportunity. In fact, we're going to be using one of them very shortly. The P-38 had a problem with the turbo, so they're pulling it down and we're replacing one of those parts. 1993 really is going to be even greater, and I think we can make it all happen. We're going to have the 2nd annual gathering of memories, and unfortunately I don't have my list of items that we're going to do, but we plan on having an open house, the 2nd annual gathering of memories. We're going to try and do a limited air show where we'll have at least some flyovers. So we're getting started on that. We need a lot of help in 1993. We have a chance to really be the wing, the best wing, the top wing in the Confederate Air Force. And I think we will be with your help. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. That was as good as a video. Okay, I just wanted to list some of our goals for 1993. Now that our P-38 is online, we will be flying it as many air shows as possible. We already have a couple of inquiries for prizes and so on that Bill Powers is taking care of. Restoration on the World War II hangar facility to continue with repairs on the roof, remodeling rooms for the Artifact Museum, meeting room and office club. We have the completion of the P-39 engine overhaul and get it flying. And George Taylor and Bob Jones and Jim and a lot of people working real hard on that. We have our open house in the spring with the fly-in, hopefully sometime in April. And we're going to coordinate that with the membership drive. And Doug Compton is in charge of the membership drive. He's supposed to have a few words about that in just a moment. And of course, the gathering of memories in August, 2nd annual in August, and the grand opening of our hangar and artifact museum at that time also. Okay, Doug, would you just give us a few words on the membership drive coming up?
What your newsletters, I will address more about this in the newsletter and also at the wing meetings. It's no better than to volunteer or come up with the ideas, because then you have to carry out on the idea, right? So, but as Jim said a while ago, we need a lot of help in 1993 in terms of manpower and financial power. And I think that one of the best resources, of course, for financial power is from our own membership, and we can make it grow. And I think that we need to call on all members of the wings to get out and solicit members. And in order to do that, we'd like to establish a sort of incentive program to get members active and to them bringing in the members. Most of you know that the headquarters now has a plan that's going to stay into effect until, I think through June or up until the 1st of June, where any new regular voting colonel membership will benefit the wing to the tune of $100 against our annual charge. And I think that's around $7,400 for this year. We can get 74 new members who can defray the entire annual charge. Okay? We have right now, I think, 71 or 72 members in the wing. This was as of the end of 1992, and counting our new member that joined the first of this month. So we've got about half the size we ought to be, okay? But if we can establish a program and get a membership drive going where we can attract these members and we can defray a lot of them, I would propose that we do something like this. And I'm open to all kinds of ideas and suggestions, so please let me know what you think. Is that each new member realizing $100 for that membership, plus the $36 prorated for the month that the member joins, is real revenue to this wing. I I propose that we take about 15% of that, something like that, and set that aside for awards and prizes that we could give to members who sign up, X number of new members. And we could do it in terms of way of credits. Those credits could be applied to perhaps gift certificates from Sporties or from the pilot shops. They could be applied to maybe dinners or weekends for two somewhere. They could be applied to airplane rides with the CAF, private aircraft, flying lessons, anything like that that you come up with that we could use those credits for that give the members the incentive to get out there and hustle some membership. I would also propose that awards be that the membership got in with our fundraiser in the spring, whenever it ends up being occurring, either in April or May. And that at that time we also present awards to the top 3 membership solicitors. And so something along those lines is what I've got in mind. I'd like to have your ideas, and if you will contact me, tell me what you think. If you have some ideas about the prizes and things like that, I'd like to hear it. Okay?
Time for Bob Jones will introduce our guest speaker on the
Well,
Excuse me.
how many Century Club members do we have for 93?
Leon, do you have any yet?
Chet's the first one. I gave those numbers. Don't see it. I swear. Your call, Ted. Phone number.
93.
Chet's over
93.
And number 2.
We need somebody too, man.
All right.
Thank you, Brad.
Fellow colonels and ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be asked to introduce our guest speaker, the commander of the 67th Reconnaissance Division here at Bergstrom Air Force Base, Colonel Scott. So he's in charge this very important period where we're switching over from military patrol to civilian. So I'm sure he has a lot of good things to do, but they very significant that he's here to speak to us. Because being in that position is very responsible. Before I let him take over the podium, I'd like to share some of the highlights from his resume, which I received to review. The senior navigator in the Air Force with over 2,000 flight hours. And he started flying his operational flying right here at Bergstrom Air Force Base in 1969 in the supersonic RS-4C. Total reconnaissance bird. In 1973, he shifted over to the Grumman F-111 and served as a weapons system manager in the F-111 aircraft and deployed to Thailand in 1973 and was in the mainland part of the Vietnam War. And after reading this resume over, I can relate very closely to that. He being a weapons system manager, single pilot of the jet, I spent over 2,000 hours in a Navy situation with the weapons system manager in the right-hand seat, and we had a little bit of discussion over the bar about how scary it was to be flying low level at night with the guy in the right seat. The pilot can't see what he's doing, and then they likewise when the pilot comes back to land, he's got to get quite a bit on what the pilot does. So I'm very excited to be able to lead this guy. Management side, I was even more impressed. His career started out as sort of low-level type thing, ROTC graduate, Minnesota, and so he got a position in the ROTC, and then he started getting into service schools. Background includes the Air Command and Staff College, which is very significant. Went on to the Industrial College for the Armed Forces, and also the Air War College. So he's been through all the top-level management schools in the Air Force. And while stationed at Boise, he even worked at a school and got his master's degree from the University of Boise. all this has led to a very responsible assignment to the Air Force, to the Deputy Chief of Staff and personnel at County Headquarters at Langley, Deputy Commander of the 4th Combat Support Group at Nellis Air Force Base, Chief of Staff of Air Force Panama, and ended up as Commander of the 67th Combat Support Group right here at Bergstrom before he assumed the title of Wing Chief. So, really impressed with this military career. On the home front, his wife couldn't make the match. Kids, they have 2 kids. So he and his wife Gail in Minnesota. Hopefully they'll retire maybe and live down here, maybe join the Confederate Air Force. He's got a good navigator. So please join me in welcoming Colonel Scott to give us a speech.
Well, thank you very much, Colonel Ayars and fellow colonels. Yes, Bob, it's good to be here. I also want to thank Scott Hurd, the installation commander. Dot performs a very important function for us here at Bergstrom Air Force Base. She runs Hurd over 2 very important functions that volunteer for us. One is the security police volunteers down there, and also here at the golf course, she's a starter. So for any wing commander, that's pretty important and prestigious couple of jobs to have. As I prepared for this speech, I happened to be talking to the flight surgeon, and I said, look, I'm kind of concerned about this business about being an after-dinner speaker. And he said, don't worry about a thing. It's easy. It's a medical fact that one's sense of hearing is considerably dulled by eating. So that's the nature's way of protecting us against after-dinner speakers. So I hope I'm coming in loud and clear back there. One of the speaking engagements I had rather recently was to help with a sermon over at the base chapel. And as the chaplain and I spoke after the sermon, I was a bit concerned about how I did. And of course, the installation chaplain also works for the wing commander. So he was trying to be very delicate and kind of told me a parable. He said, once upon a time there was a lion that ate a bull. He felt so good that he roared and he roared. And after a very short period of time, a hunter came along and killed him on the first shot. And I kind of looked at him for a while. And finally, he had to explain to me. He said, look, the moral of that story is, you're full of bull, keep your mouth shut. Well, as a Ford dealer down in Bastrop, I might have to say, I'm going to try to hold the bull to a minimum. We're going to talk a little bit about the Air Force and what we're doing here at Bergstrom Air Force Base this evening. I think one of the things I have to say up front about the Air Force is, yes, we are getting smaller, a lot smaller. But we also are a lot smarter than we have been in the past, with better people and doing better things than we've ever done before. And it's a very exciting time in the Air Force as we reorganize and do all those kinds of things that we have to do to be just as effective as we have been in the past, with new missions out there in a never-changing world. We're exploiting our strengths. We're exploiting the fact that we are more flexible, we're more mobile, and we've got better equipment than we've ever had before. But just as important, and probably more important, as I tell my people, is while the F-16 Block, whatever it might be now, Block 80, is a very great weapon system, our biggest force multiplier is the people themselves. And I can tell you this, that on board the Air Force today, there's been no period of time when we've had better luck in recruiting good people, smart people, and people who are enthusiastic and motivated to do a good job. So in that case, in that particular instance, we're in good step. And I think we continue to demonstrate to the world just who is the premier Air Force. And I don't think there's any doubt that we've been tested over the last couple of years, and we have passed those tests with flying colors. Last year, as a matter of fact, the Air Force participated in more than 40 deployments in 20 different countries. We provided assistance and 10 national disasters or humanitarian efforts, both here in the United States and abroad. You probably are well aware of a lot of those. Homestead Air Force Base being one of them. We had land project Provide Hope with to the Commonwealth of Independent States, delivering food and medical supplies there. Provide Promise to Yugoslavia, Provide Relief to Somalia, and Provide Transition to Angola. All of those kind of humanitarian missions have been important. And most recently, I think you can remember the events of what's been going on in Iraq. We've been challenged there, and I think we've succeeded handsomely. Challenging the security is a fiscal environment and an overall security environment out there that is somewhat unsure. You know, it was great when we had one opponent to worry about in a world that was pretty well stable or had some equilibrium. Well, that equilibrium no longer exists, and it's been a real challenge for us to bring together a effective organization. Well, to do that, we've had to slim down and try to do that in a way that does not affect our combat capability, but allows us to get rid of this management overhead that we have had for a long time. We've taken our major air commands. We used to have 13. We now have 10. We've reduced the number of aircraft we fly by about 2,200. Now that's a lot of airplanes. 2,200 airplanes we've lost since 1988. And by the mid-1995, just as an example, we're only going to have about 160 bombers. Imagine that, that's a pretty small number. The world is changing. We've shrunk more than 100 squadrons of aircraft and people. We'll do that by the year 1995. That represents a more than 50% decrease in our squadrons since 1988. By 1995, we're going to reduce the number of people in the Air Force by 29%. That represents a decrease of about 165,000. So we're getting smaller faster. Our budget too is getting a lot smaller. Let me give you some food for thought. Part of the rationale for why we have to close bases. Overall in the military, the percent of our budget that's going to be spent in the future on infrastructure is being reduced by 40%. That part of the budget that takes care of our bases and our forts and our naval installations is being reduced by 40%. Well, right now, we're only programmed by 1995 to reduce our installations by 15%. So as you can well imagine, if we're going to preserve our combat capability in the future, we've got to shut down more bases, and we have to do them quickly. And that leads me to what's happening here in Bergstrom Air Force Base. Now, first of all, let me tell you that part of the problem is that our infrastructures across the Air Force line are about on the average, 32 years old. Now, you might not think that if you look around, particularly if you look around Bergstrom Air Force Base. You've got these really nice facilities. I think trying to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money and keeping them up, making them look good. Well, structures aren't all there is to infrastructure. And a lot of bases are starting to see that some of the attention needs to start getting paid to water mains, and sewers, and gas lines, electrical utilities, and all those kinds of things that go into making a base function day to day. So there's a lot of money that needs to be spent in the future on those kinds of activities. Things that we've ignored in the past because we wanted to make sure our airmen lived and worked in first-class facilities. So we need to spend some money there. Well, we got to close bases quickly. I've already said that. Overseas, we're withdrawing from 10 bases in 5 countries, and by the end of 1993, we'll only have about 30 bases left overseas. That represents quite a few. In the United States, 19 Air Force bases have been designated for closure. And matter of fact, just last December we closed 5 of them this last month. And next year we're going to close even more. Of course, Bergstrom is one of those that closed on the 30th of September. And that's the why. We have to get smaller. We have to get rid of some of our infrastructure that we have to preserve the combat capabilities that we need to face an uncertain world in the future. Well, Closing air, let me talk a little bit about closing Bergstrom Air Force Base because that's one of my responsibilities. Let me say first of all that not all of Bergstrom Air Force Base is going to close. The 924th and the 10th Air Force people, the reserve units that are here right now, are going to stay after the 1st of October of this year. So their future, however, is couched in terms of a couple things. I'll just quickly outline them right now. First of all is whether or not the city determines that they would like to spend some money to relocate some facilities to make room for a commercial airport. That is currently being discussed by the city council. The second thing is the status of the reserve units here at Bergstrom Air Force Base on a follow-on base realignment closure 3 third round that is upcoming and will be announced in March. Finally, the status of the base is being determined by what the law says with regard to keeping the reserve units here after the active duty units close out. What the law says is that Bergstrom Air Force Base will continue to have, they continue to have the reserve here, and after we close, if by this summer the city determines that they will make Bergstrom Air Force Base an active airport, second by 1996, the city makes this a viable airport. So those are the kinds of things we need to have to continue to have a reserve here at Bergstrom Air Force Base. Well, my job as the active duty unit commander is to shut down the base and get the active duty people off the base. That represents, and I can tell you that that's not an easy job. It's fine to talk about the fact that I've got to close down or transition 322 buildings, 719 family housing units. PCS separate or retire about 4,000 military people and find jobs or say goodbye to over 1,000 civilian people. That's just part of the task. Some of the tasks, however, is related to how do you transition the Air Force Base to other uses. And that's what we're going to right now. Let me talk a little bit about our civilian and military workforce that we're helping find new jobs elsewhere. We took a look at the problem several months ago and determined that it was necessary to get some help. And we also approached it in a kind of quality way. What that meant to us was we went out to all the Air Force bases and we could find the proposals and stole all the ideas we could from them. That helped. One of the things we did was we took the representative from the Texas Employment Commission with us. We visited Chinook Air Force Base in Illinois. And we got a lot of notes from Chinook Air Force Base. You see, the state of Illinois had opened up the state employment office. Well, we thought that was a good idea. He came back and wrote a grant for the state of Texas. Right now, we've got what we call an Empower Office. That's our acronym. It stands for Employment Opportunities and Work Education and Retraining. That's all. That's for the civilian personnel and also some of the military personnel who are here trying to look for jobs. We've also opened up the transition office. We man it, we use it so that we can get military people from the military to take off the blue suit and go into the civilian life. That's a hard transition for a lot of people to make. We're determined that we're going to need them as best we can. There's another thing we have to do, and that's prepare the base for turnover. Well, I already talked about the fact that we've got a lot of buildings and people. We've also got what we believe to be about 22 million cubic feet of stuff. We got to move. That's desks, tables, chairs, equipment, all those kinds of things that were associated with airplanes and with administrative jobs and with, well, everything else that goes on around the base. To do and to account for all that stuff and prepare to move it was a challenge in and of itself. You see these tables and chairs that you've got right here are not accounted for. I kind of say that a little bit shakily because that's the way it used to be. We had to develop an accounting system that accounted for all the tables and chairs. And where the Air Force works on the supply side is when you talk about cheap consumable items, when they're issued to a unit, they're no longer accounted for. So we had to develop an accounting system so that we could track them, one, prevent people from stealing them, if you will, and I'll say that quite bluntly. But secondly, we had to know where everything was so we could ship them out. When we closed a facility, we had to plan all that. So in order to do that, we had to come up with our own computer system to account for all those items and actually do it. On the supply side, they already had a means of accounting for expensive equipment and computers and all that kind of thing. But what we're talking about is chairs, tables, and desks that we needed to account for. Only we found an individual that was happened to be, and you can always find sharp individuals in the Air Force. We have to find a captain. He was a navigator. Who before he came here was also happened to be a load planner on the space shuttle. He invented a program for us that would end up tracking all that stuff so that we know when a facility closes what kind of stuff we can get rid of and when it's available. So we invented that right here at Bergstrom Air Force Base and all the other closing bases that are using that program. Another major issue that we had to face up to is closing an Air Force base these days is not an easy task from an environmental perspective. You've got a lot of laws and a lot of people who have their fingers in the pie about how to go about closing the base. What we did there was we put together an environmental coordinating committee, and I chaired, and it's made up of representatives from the State Attorney General's office, the Texas Water Commission, which has the Environmental Enforcement Authority here within the state, and also right here at Bergstrom Air Force Base, and also EPA Region 6. We're making headway in that regard because we can talk to the regulators one-on-one, and we have a great exchange of information. We don't have to wait for mail to go back and forth 3 times before we get a clarification. Let me assure you this, the Bergstrom Air Force Base is going to be cleaned up in accordance with the laws, and we're going to stand behind the base for as long as there's an Air Force in terms of if somebody finds some pollution out there that the Air Force did, to clean it up. That's our policy, and that's what we're going to proceed. We also are working very closely with the city, the state manager's office, to make sure that the base transition goes smoothly. One of the things we did was we took the assistant city manager, the director of aviation for Austin as well with us, and went out and visited a couple other closure bases. That was kind of impressive to those closure bases because the community had never seen that before. The Air Force people showing up with the civilian people who were eventually going to get the base. And we talked to them about the problems in transition. We were very frank about it. And I can tell you this, that I visited over a half a dozen closure bases, and here in Austin I think we have the best teamwork going as far as transitioning a basis of being used that I've seen across the Air Force. So we're making some headway there. One of the other issues is trying to keep everybody informed about what's happening with base closure. And if you're a retiree, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's tough to do sometimes. We've been trying to keep the entire community, whether you're part of the 35,000 retirees who live in the local area or part of the over 7,000 Air Force dependents, I can't really call them dependents anymore, family members of Air Force people. We try to keep them informed about what's going on. You well know things like closing the commissary and what we're having to do with the hospital have some rather horrendous impacts on retirees. We need to get the word to you all about what's happening and the kinds of options that you have for medical care. We've been trying very hard to do that through open houses and also mailings to you about what's happening. So people are not only concerned about the hospital, they're concerned about the DX, the commissary, and all kinds of things that affect quality of life. I might add to you that we started out this thing very early on, determining that it was necessary for us to take a look at what people thought quality of life here at Bergstrom Air Force Base was all about and what were the most important things. So we took a survey back last February, and we involved the retirees and also active duty Air Force to determine what was important to you, the pharmacy or the commissary or what exactly was important to you. We took that information and made those decisions in our planning about what order we would close various facilities. Well, the challenge is a big one, I can tell you that. But I think on the good news side, we got some good people, some very special people working. I can tell you that we've been working with them about things like quality. Every one of them has been through quality training for over a day. We have team training, we do things on customer service, we do those kinds of things that are somewhat unusual from what other places do. But we think they're important in making sure that the people are well equipped and well informed to do their job and make good decisions. And they have stepped up to that challenge in a big way. And I can tell you that the good news is that we've got some great people with some good ideas, and we're paying attention to those good ideas. That's what base closure is all about. It's not like flying airplanes. I wish it was. It's not quite like it. A lot of people involved, a lot of people with problems and challenges, but I think in the main we're trying to do the best we can to take into consideration those impacts on the base population and the retirees as well. You know, my job, when I sit here and think about being a wing commander, I'm often reminded of what Pope John the 23rd had to say one time when he confessed that sometimes I wake up at night and begin to think about a serious problem and decide that I must go tell the Pope. Then I wake up completely and I remember that I am the Pope. Well, I don't have those kinds of heavenly connections. But I can tell you this, that I take this job very seriously, and there are times when I wake up realize that I've got to make a decision or try to do things, and not necessarily in a great, well, let me say this, have a great deal of responsibility. I take that responsibility pretty seriously. I think we're doing a good job. We're on track, I can tell you that. We're going to step out of the Air Force Base expanding in a way that those people like you who have served here past and absolutely fine. Can I answer any questions about base closure that is placed? I can.
Well, I'm just curious, how many retired? Just raise
We got some spouses too, right? A lot of impacts throughout the year. I can tell you this, that we're working hard on a medical program that's going to be coming on board. There's foundation help available in May that will have some importance to those people who are under 65 who will take the place of Medicare. That was we know feel well that folks over 65 working on both, particularly pharmacy.
Do they have any word on the pharmacy?
I don't think right now, the word that I'm getting right now is that the pharmacy has a place where you go pick up drugs. It's going to be part of the Foundation Health Program. The Foundation Health Program will allow you to go take your script, probably past the administrative office or Eckers or Walmart or wherever, and supercharge
Well, is that going to be only going to people that are on campus or on top?
Right, that's
on campus, but if it's very retirees, there's quite a bit of buffer.
Anybody over 65 is going to be Medicare Part D, and that's something.
It doesn't go to the pharmacy.
Right. That's where you got to look at things like East End. And that's the tough part. We realize full well that the pharmacy was represented a great deal of cost savings to the retiree over 65, and also probably disproportionately provided the retiree access to the system more so than any medical care we actually do. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Colonel, when you get all that information put together, would it be possible for you to send us a copy so we can share with others? We have a number of members in our Kansas City area.
If you aren't getting the retiree newsletter that we try to turn out every 3 months, please, you need to get guys on that instance. That includes all that kind of information.
Colonel, aside from the aircraft facilities, the runways, hangar facilities, how long it may be transitioned over to a much more what is likely to happen, what is really coming from housing facilities this year? How will that go and put that in the schools?
As far as the housing is concerned, some of it depends on the extent to which we're looking at the second runway. This is between the city here. My knowledge of the plan has to do with not too far over that direction. It's on the other side of the 8th hole, Doc? Must be the 8th hole, right? Just on the other side of the 8th hole is going to be the second runway. The clear zone that runs out from that runway is going to effectively wipe out most of the base housing. The problem we have with base housing as well is because of the FAR's work, is you're going to end up having to insulate a lot of those houses. So right now, as we understand, the master plan that's on the streets is those houses are either moved or destroyed. We've got a couple houses designated for the city to move them, and we're waiting on approval from their folks to allow them to try to move them. So there is some
Why is one of the
city council.
what is in the paper? Reckon the homeless people.
The initiative you're talking about is have to do with alcoholic rehabilitation.
Voices are getting soft now, it's getting hard to hear back.
Okay, I'm sorry, let me talk that direction. What the question was about the homeless community. The initiative really has to do with, and Mr. Richard Troxel really is kind of the coordinator for it. It has to do with an alcoholic rehabilitation facility. And what that would encompass is the second floor of the hospital, the 2 dormitory facilities, and perhaps the NCO club. And what they would do would be rehabilitate alcoholics and find them some work, perhaps mowing grass, taking care of landscape. Don't know. That was the tour we gave. I don't know whether or not there was any sentiment within the council to do that. That was the issue. Any other questions? Well, I've enjoyed being here, and I want to congratulate you on a successful year. It sounded like it was a great year. I certainly believe that it's neat that we have an organization that's preserved the history of flying machines. World War II. One thing I will leave you with is, you're getting old when the airplanes that you flew, the F-111A model and the RF-4, and had most of the hours in, end up at Davis-Monthan. And I watched my airplane, with my name on it, go to Davis-Monthan to be in storage on the 26th of September. I had to stay here, and I did that for a reason because I needed to make the point with my people that were still working together. That was a tough thing to do. But if the Confederate Air Force ever gets in the business of preserving old Vietnam, Persian Gulf veteran airplanes, I can tell you where the best looking RF-4 exists at Davis-Monthan. It's tail number 6758587. It's got my name on it.
We'd like to present Noel with one of our ghost calendars for 1993. Keep track of what's going on.
Thank you very much, Tom. Enjoyed that tremendously. And if you have any more of these unaccountable tables and chairs, we can probably help in that area.
How about a tow vehicle?
Hangers, anything unaccountable, just let us know and we'll be happy to help. Strategically relocating for you.
You'll help them with Kelp Park, won't you?
Okay, I want to thank everyone for electing me ringleader again this year. You can't know how much this means. But I enjoy 6th, where it says you must be there or you'll miss out. Next wing meeting, February the 9th, it'll be at the hangar at our temporary meeting room in the hangar. Do we have anything else for this evening? Thank you all for a wonderful year. I think this has been the best year of Centex Women's Casual a long time. And we're expecting 1993 to be so much better. Thank you. I'm glad.